Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're digging into a set of sources that deal with something, well, absolutely foundational: how we treat ourselves.
Mhm.
We're diving into the deeply personal work of author Jonathan Kis-Lev and his insights on what he calls the art of loving myself.
Right.
So our goal for the next few minutes is to cut straight to the core of his journey. We want to understand the actionable path he took from being, a professional pleaser.
That person who lives for everyone else's approval.
Exactly. To establishing genuine self-worth, we'll look at the surprising actions he took and, maybe most importantly, identify what he calls the king of the dark forces that he claims is sabotaging our lives.
And this whole framework, it's not designed just to make you feel, warm and fuzzy. Kislev lays this out as the absolute non-negotiable prerequisite for high self-esteem, for self-respect, and self-worth.
Right.
If that foundation is based on what other people think, the whole thing just collapses.
And that instability is exactly what drove him. I mean, he wasn't seeking self-help because he was bored. He describes his motivation as this profound, almost desperate hunger to fill a gap.
A gap that nothing else could touch.
Nothing. He had success accomplishments, hard work, romantic love. He was a thriving artist, but none of it gave him lasting satisfaction.
It's the classic external validation trap. He realized he was a textbook pleaser. Which means his internal value system was, well, it was outsourced. He was just perpetually chasing approval to feel all right.
Whether that was good grades in school or
later, making bigger paintings, better paintings, more extravagant exhibitions.
Yeah.
It was all just fuel for that approval engine.
So what was the actual cost of constantly performing for this invisible audience?
He says it was tiring, exhausting, and unhealthy.
And it wasn't just an emotional burnout either. He experienced severe, paralyzing back pains.
Pains that multiple forms of physical therapy and acupuncture just couldn't touch. That physical manifestation is fascinating. It suggests the cost wasn't just stress. It was his body literally reacting to the emotional misalignment.
So it's like he was conditioned.
Totally. Early on, he learned that pleasing others got him positive attention and love, and that trained him to put himself dead last.
It really makes you think when we're constantly scrolling for likes or seeking reassurance at work.
Yeah.
We're paying a very real, tangible debt, physically and emotionally.
That debt forced a change.
Yeah.
So let's get to the foundation of the turnaround. He introduces this concept he picked up at a Jack Canfield workshop. He calls it the mirror thing. And the idea is every evening you stand in front of the mirror, say encouraging words, and you finish with, "I love you."
And this is where most people would just quit.
Right.
The author admits he hated that. He said he faked it and felt like he was staring at someone I'd rather not be around. It feels corny, inauthentic.
But if he hated it and felt it was a lie, how did that help? Isn't that just, I don't know, faking it? That's the key analytical point, though. It's not about immediate belief. It's about persistence, breaking down the resistance.
Okay.
By doing it religiously for months, he was performing an act of self-respect that was stronger than his feelings of doubt. He was showing himself that he was worthy of consistent positive attention, even from himself.
And here's where that practice really proved its worth in his relationships.
Right.
He was dating a woman he calls Autumn, and things were getting serious until she cited his inner insecurities as the reason she couldn't commit to marriage.
Oof. That's a moment of reckoning.
A huge one.
It forced him to see that by allowing his real vulnerable self to show up, which is an act of self-love, right?
Yeah.
He was actually forcing a break from that unhealthy pattern. The relationship with Autumn, as painful as it was, it mirrored his old self, the one who would hide parts of himself to fit in.
So the ultimate act of self-love was actually choosing to leave that relationship.
Exactly. He was proving to himself that his commitment to self-respect was stronger than his fear of being alone.
And the contrast is just so stark when he meets his eventual wife, the new girl. When she spoke to him one day in a short-tempered way, he immediately drew a line. He didn't explode or retreat. He just calmly stated a boundary.
What did he say?
Something like, "Hey, that didn't feel very nice. I'd rather you not speak that way to me."
And her reaction is what's so remarkable.
Yeah.
She called it a defining moment. She said it showed he actually cared about his own well-being.
He notes that if he hadn't gained that courage from all the mirror work, to speak up for his own dignity, the relationship probably would have ended before it even really began.
That self-love wasn't just for him. It was a precondition for a healthy partnership. It's like a new operating system.
Right.
And a shift like that, it requires constant maintenance. He suggests two profound daily questions you have to ask yourself.
Okay, what are they?
First, If I truly loved myself, what would I do today? And second, which kind of example do I give to others as to how to treat me?
But people are resistant to the upgraded you.
Oh, for sure.
The new boundary-setting version of you will inevitably get pushback from people who are used to you putting yourself last.
Which is why he advocates for what he calls extreme measures
Yeah.
to reinforce this positive change. He realized you have to consciously rewrite your brain's negative script.
And he developed two specific tools for this. The first one is almost, I don't know, medieval, the man cave or shrine.
Yes, his private office space became this museum of self-affirmation.
Filled with what? Like physical proof of his worth.
Exactly. Things like childhood photos to access positive feelings towards his younger self diplomas, letters of appreciation.
And even he says silly little notes, like one thanking him for doing the dishes.
The purpose isn't narcissism. It's about using physical things to anchor your sense of worth in your own history, not what someone else thinks of your latest success.
And the second tool is totally modern, the digital dump.
Which is a dedicated screenshot folder on your phone.
Filled exclusively with evidence of your successes and compliments, a friend's kind text, a good review, a picture of a professional win.
What's powerful here is the psychological mechanism behind it. Both the shrine and the dump are designed to consciously inundate your brain with your successes.
To fight back against that negativity bias our brains have.
Exactly. He frames self-love not as arrogance, but as a cushion. It's the token you play with in the casino called life.
So if you have enough tokens...
When criticism or failure hits, when you fall, it just won't hurt as much.
Moving now from external action to internal clearing, he shifts focus to this heavy weight we carry. Resentment. He says it plainly that resentment is eating us alive, and that the profound act of forgiveness is what ultimately liberates the victim.
It's a gift you give yourself, not the other person.
Yes. And he shares this tough story about Jacob, his theater teacher.
Who was, he says, charismatic but also cruel, just constantly humiliating the author in front of the whole class with these intensely specific and demeaning comments.
It was a brutal abuse of power. But the turning point came when he started to analyze Jacob's behavior not as a personal attack, but as a symptom of the teacher's own pain.
Right. He saw that Jacob's cruelty was born out of his own damaged and unloved inner child.
And that realization is so crucial for true forgiveness.
It is.
Yeah.
By looking past the immediate action and recognizing the other person's internal suffering, the author was finally able to release the resentment.
He even found gratitude for it. He acknowledged it was what forced him to develop this intense sensitivity and awareness that became valuable assets later in life.
After resentment, he tackles the silent burdens of secrets.
He cites a 2015 study that found keeping a secret literally makes you feel weighed down.
And it reduces your cognitive ability to focus on other tasks. The mental energy you use to suppress the secret is just lost. It's gone.
The solution is immediate processing. The research suggests that either fully revealing the secret or even just simply writing the secret down allows for constructive processing. It mitigates the negative effects.
And the author used this to process years of shame over his teenage sexual experimentation, which he'd hidden because of this intense religious and cultural fear of sin anen.
Yep.
And he just illustrates the immense relief that comes from acknowledging the secret and letting go of that shame.
So now let's talk about the final stage. Identifying the true internal enemies. The author sees the mind as a castle under siege.
And he names 3 visible subordinates that are depleting our energy daily: self-loathing, self-hatred, and self-criticism.
These are dangerous because they attack in different ways. Self-hatred is. That's the brute force attack, blatant and choke-inducing.
Self-loathing is the sniper, just waiting for you to fail.
And self-criticism is the most subtle, right? It wears an intellectual disguise. It sounds like helpful wisdom, but really it's just driving you to do nothing.
But none of those are the commander.
Right. He identifies the ultimate king of the dark forces as something far more cunning and much softer in its approach.
Self-doubt.
Self-doubt. That's a powerful insight. Why is self-doubt worse than blatant self-hatred?
Because the king is invisible. He wears a mask of genuine concern, and he perfectly mimics your true intuition.
Okay, so if my intuition says, go for it, I think you can do this, what does the king say?
He asks softly, deceptively, can you?
Ah.
Intuition is a drive toward action. Self-doubt is the saboteur of inertia. It creates hesitation, uncertainty, indecision. even when you know the right path forward in your career or your health.
So self-doubt is the one who convinces you to leave the safety of your castle.
Yes, leading you into that depletion cycle where the other three enemies can just devour your energy. Listening to the king is why most people never even start making positive changes.
That is a critical distinction. So to
Okay,
bring this full circle, the art of loving myself, it's not about conceit or being full of yourself.
not at all.
It's the essential self-respect, the token you have to choose to play with in the casino of life, just to ensure you can absorb the necessary losses and keep playing the game.
And the central message, which should really resonate with you today, is that you are the answer to your own suffering.
You have the power.
You have the power to consciously choose to leave the path of self-battering and walk the path of self-respect, of enforcing those boundaries and self-nurturing your mind.
So what does this all mean for you now? The author suggests that your mess is your message. The painful stories you carry. They're not liabilities. They are the foundation for your greatest strength.
Jonathan Kis-Lev had to actively learn to rewrite his painful stories, from the humiliation by Jacob to the rejection from Autumn, to find strength in them. So we'll leave you with this provocative thought. What painful or difficult part of your past story are you refusing to rewrite? And what inherent gift or boundaries are you currently robbing the world of by not yet embracing your whole authentic self?